Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: President Muhammadu Buhari joins the team of West African leaders expected on Thursday in Bamako to help calm Mali's socio-political crisis. Ethiopia reaches its first-year target for filling its mega dam on the Blue Nile River, a significant step towards producing energy. The daughter of Congolese independence hero Patrice Lumumba calls on Belgium to return her father's relics to the land of his ancestors. Our top story today: Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari will join the West African leaders expected on Thursday in Bamako to help calm Mali's socio-political crisis after weeks of deadly anti-government protests. President Buhari will accompany his counterparts from Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana and Niger. The delegation of West African leaders will also include former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, as well as the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibrou. The heads of state are expected at 10 a.m. local time on Thursday. They will first meet with Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, then jointly with the influential imam and protest leader Mahmoud Dicko and the leaders of the June 5th movement, who strongly demands President Keïta's resignation. The delegation is set to leave Mali on the same day at around 5 p.m. In Nigeria, the Senate passed a resolution demanding military chiefs resign for failing to contain widespread insecurity, despite claims the army is bringing the situation under control. On Tuesday, senators called on military heads to step down over the deteriorating security situation in the country that is struggling with a decade-long Islamist insurgency launched by Boko Haram jihadists in the northeast and bloody attacks perpetrated by armed groups in the northwest. President Muhammadu Buhari's office insisted that firing the military bosses remained a presidential prerogative and that the president will do what is in the best interest of the country at all times. The Ethiopian government proudly announced on Tuesday that its first-year target had been reached for filling its Grand Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile River, which will become the largest hydroelectric power plant in Africa when completed. A victory, since the project has been a source of growing tensions between neighboring Nile countries, Egypt and Sudan, ever since Ethiopia broke ground on it in 2011. Ethiopia's announcement came as African leaders held a virtual meeting on Tuesday to try to settle the dispute, a process that is being overseen by the African Union. African Union Commission Chairperson Moussa Faki Mahamat said it was necessary that Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan come to an agreement that preserves the interest of all parties. Equatorial Guinea and Cameroon announced on Tuesday that they had signed a cross-border security agreement after months of tense relations over Malabo's building of a border wall. The defense ministers of both neighboring countries signed an accord on border control at Sipopo, near Equatorial Guinea's capital, and agreed to maintain significant border control to minimize conflicts along their common borders. The agreement includes banning the use of force between the two countries and the non-interference in the other's internal affairs. Both parties also reaffirmed their commitment to strengthen partnership in the areas of defense, security and cross-border exchanges, and to enhance training, intelligence and the fight against cross-border crime and other threats. Equatorial Guinea has been concerned over growing illegal immigration from Cameroonians chasing perceived opportunities in the country's growing oil industry. Tanzania's presidential and parliamentary elections are officially scheduled for the 28th of October. The National Electoral Commission announced on Tuesday that campaigns for both elections will run for 2 months, from the 26th of August to the 27th of October. Outgoing President John Magufuli will be seeking re-election for a second term after being nominated as the governing party candidate earlier this month. Nominations for presidential candidates and their running mates will be held on the 25th of August, according to the election timetable. On the health front, Congolese President Félix Tshisekedi announced on Tuesday the end of the health emergency imposed since late March to stem the progression of the coronavirus and ordered the gradual reopening of business activities, schools and borders. President Tshisekedi argued that the coronavirus figures place the Democratic Republic of Congo as the 9th worst hit country in Africa in terms of the number of cases and the 12th in terms of deaths, silencing what he described as catastrophic forecasts predicted for his country at the beginning of the pandemic. All shops, banks, restaurants and bars were allowed to reopen as of this Wednesday. Public transport also resumed and large gatherings are now permitted with coronavirus safety guidelines recommended by the authorities. Schools and universities are set to reopen on the 3rd of August, while airports, ports, borders and places of worship will reopen on the 15th of August. Contrary to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Zimbabwe decided to tighten up the rules imposed to curb the progression of coronavirus. President Emerson Mnangagwa on Tuesday imposed a curfew between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. starting this Wednesday and restored strict measures following a spike in COVID-19 cases in recent weeks. Although the number of infections recorded in the country of 14 million inhabitants remains small, it rose by nearly a third over the past week to a total of 1,713 cases registered since the beginning of the pandemic. All non-working people will be required to stay at home and may only go out to buy groceries and seek health care. Travel between cities and gatherings of more than 50 people remain prohibited until further notice. On the economic front, Zambia's President Edgar Lungu has called for debt relief and cancellation from China due to the severe impact of the coronavirus pandemic on his country's economy. Lungu, who talked on the phone with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping on Monday, argued reduced revenue due to the COVID-19 crisis, as well as competing needs for his country to secure necessary resources to fight the pandemic and to stimulate the economy. Chinese credit has grown to about a third of Zambia's external debt, which has surged sevenfold over the past decade, forcing the continent's second-largest copper producer this year to ask creditors to reschedule loans. Juliana Amato Lumumba, the daughter of Congolese independence hero Patrice Lumumba, urged Belgium to return her father's remains taken from his body after his assassination in 1961 in a letter penned on the 30th of June and seen by the AFP on Tuesday. The remains mentioned in her letter to Belgium's King Philip are Lumumba's teeth, which were removed from his dead body. 20 years ago, Belgian Police Commissioner Gerard Sauty told AFP that he had decapitated Lumumba's body and subsequently dissolved it in acid. However, a documentary aired on German TV channel ARD had Sauty displaying two teeth that he said had belonged to Lumumba. 4 years ago, a Belgian academic, Ludo de Witt, lodged a legal complaint against Sauty's daughter after she showed a gold tooth which she said had belonged to Lumumba during an interview with a newspaper. Lumumba's daughter sharply criticized what she described as evil comments made in Belgium and summoned the authorities to return her father's relics. On the innovation front in Benin's capital Cotonou, a startup and innovation hub called the Semi-City aims to solve African problems by helping young entrepreneurs and project leaders to develop their startup ideas. A young entrepreneur benefited from the guidance offered by the center to develop X-Over during the coronavirus pandemic, a mobile application that facilitates the tracking of COVID-19 infections.
X-Over is a mobile application that we developed as part of the COVID-19 crisis management. It actually allows us to detect the different people who have been in contact with a COVID positive person. Not only does it allow us to trace these different contact cases, but it also provides users with reliable information about COVID-19.
D'avoir des informations fiables sur le COVID.
For its director, Claude Borna, in office since 2016, Semicity is a unique place that supports and trains the talents of tomorrow and promotes innovation made in Africa.
Semicity allowed us to hit the right targets. Before coming to Semicity, we were doing the transformation, but we didn't have the scientific data for the formulation of teas. So thanks to Semicity, we have found a phytotherapist who helps us to formulate these products. People come looking for collaborations, for training, for guidance in setting up a project, for training to get a diploma. But above all, there is an end goal, which is to solve African problems with new methods. Perhaps in saying to ourselves that what we have done up to now, we can improve, and we want to do it together.
The Simi One Center, which is part of Semicity, was designed to be a cradle for researchers and tech entrepreneurs.
The building was built to have researchers, students and entrepreneurs all in one place. We know that all the great innovations have come through one of these branches. So to have them in a single place, researchers on the second floor dealing with the questions they are facing, we can go to the first floor to see students, and the same for entrepreneurs who are faced with a problem and can go to see the researchers. That's the kind of place we are in. And constructing such a colorful building where all these minds can interact, it's sure to be a guarantee of a lot of innovation.
C'est sûr que c'est gage de beaucoup d'innovation.
Benin's President Patrice Talon hopes his Semicity project will help turn his small West African country into a regional tech hotspot like Kenya or Rwanda on the other side of the continent. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.